Is staking Hex still worth it in 2026? Well, I'm not going to tell you one way or another. I'm going to let you decide. We're going to go over some of the facts. We're going to go over liquidity pools. We're going to go over the supply. We're going to go over a few dynamics. And at the end of the video, you can decide whether or not you think it's still worth it to stake Hex in 2026. I believe there's still a subset of people still staking Hex. I think I watched one of Crispy Man's streams, and there's about I think he said 1,000 regular stakers still, and then even a smaller group still staking out 5,555 days. But again, those are people that have high conviction in the system. So what we really seen was, and Hex went all the way up from around 55 cents in 2021, right? So the conviction was pretty high at that time, and going into the PulseChain and PulseX sacrifices, people were still staking Hex long term. And as time went on, it took 2 years, the funny meme, or, the saying 2 more weeks. It took a little bit of time for PulseChain to come out, 2 years to be exact, roughly. And then we launched in a bear market in 2023, and it's pretty much been down and sideways for the vast majority. I mean, you have to remember the sacrifice did raise upwards of $600 million. So you would have, there's a lot of sell pressure. So that's to be expected, especially in a cryptocurrency, in the cryptos that we own or that we, like to talk about, because they're heavily gate kept. I'm going to try to share my screen here so we can actually look at some different stats and stuff. So let's see. Screen should be shared. All right. Now I'm on the apex.win chart or site. So in the PLSV1 liquidity pool, there's 197 million Hex for sale. In the PLSV2 liquidity pool, there's 159 million Hex. I think I did the math earlier. It's just under 360 million, but we're going to just say 360 million, right? Now let's pull up the calculator. So if we have 360 million Hex for sale, right? Actually, before we do that, how much Hex does it take to get a T-share? 44,363. We'll just round up to say 44,364. So we're going to do very conservative numbers here, right? 44,364 Hex for a T-share. But let's divide it by 3. So at minimum, it's going to cost you 14,788 Hex to get a T-share. So 14,788 Hex. 360 million divided by 14,788 Hex. So going off the math alone right there shows you that without any price move, obviously that's not how it works, but without the price moving at all, only 24,344 people can get a T-share. New entrants could come in and get a T-share, right? So if you really think about it, there's not very much room for people to get T-shares. And that's what you have to remember. The Hex T-share rate is going to be 50,000 pretty much by the end of this year, depending on how the market moves. If there's a wild amount of emergency unstakes, it could push the T-share rate past 50. We're just going to say it's probably going to hit around 50,000 for the end of the year. So realistically, as people buy Hex, because of how the liquidity pools are set up, you're going to push the price up. And then you get big dumpers. There's going to be phases where there's sell-offs, but that's accumulation phases. So you don't really, this 24,000 number is probably a lot less. I mean, realistically, we're probably talking under 10,000 new people could get a T-share. And once we past like psychological barriers, if hex, did go past 10 cents or something, you're going to have dumpers getting off along the way. Some of these big players will exit by then, and then that'll allow the price to go higher. But I mean, where we're at right now at just over 1.5 tenths of a penny right now is a perfect opportunity for you to build a ladder if you believe in hex. So if we go to the hex calc mining, I did some numbers here. So I put 15,000 hex burn for the max length of 5,555 days. And what we got here, $5. If you think hex could be $5 in 15 years, it's only a 10x above its last all-time high. That would be a total of $133,182, $58,000 in yield. And that's with the rate cuts. We had to even talk about the fact that we had the equivalent of 2 Bitcoin halvings. I do see a lot of haters. I see a lot of trolls lately since I've been back making content. Now, I did not realize it was this bad, but there are a lot of sour apples here. Like, I make a post on X, and I see on every one of my posts, especially ones that get more engagement, I do see haters coming. And I see trolls and I see non-believers. Like, what I don't understand is, if you don't care about hex, why are you here? Why are you engaging with it? That doesn't really make much sense to me. But the whole point of this video is, do you think it's still worth it to stake hex in 2026? Well, we just looked at the liquidity pool. We just seen how many new stakers can actually come and get T-shares. Not very many. Then we looked at the share rate, which we know is going to be 50,000. T-shares always get more expensive in hex term. That number is never going to go down. So we know that's going to be around 50,000 by the end of 2026. So if the price starts moving, it's going to get extremely hard for you to get T-shares. Now, I wanted to go to Pampy, and I wanted to put a few numbers in once to take a look around. We can actually just leave it at 20 million each, and we'll even put some sell pressure in. We'll leave it at 80%. $20 million going into each coin. That's $80 million. That's not really anything in the grand scheme of things, with all the money floating around in the markets. A 210x, that puts hex at 33 cents. 33 cents. So now, like, that would probably be, honestly, if we were to take a look at it. Let me check on my phone once. 33,000. No, wait. What was I looking at here? No, 33 cents, my bad. 33 cents times 50,000. That would put a T-share at $16,500. Do you think a T-share is worth it? Like I said, these are things for you to decide. These are things for you. This ain't me telling you what to do. If you want to stake hex, go for it. If you don't, if you hate everything about it, but you're here just trolling and hassling people, I mean, more power to you. I mean, you have the right to do that, I guess. But, once these prices move, if they do move in the opposite direction of where they've been, T-shares are going to get extremely expensive, extremely fast. So you guys all have to keep that in mind. You could easily build out a ladder right now. It wouldn't cost you very much money, and you could have positions set. No one is telling you to put your whole net worth into it. But what's a little coffee money? What's something, if you're blowing money on random random shit sometimes. Like what's putting what I need it's not much, it's $71 for a t-shirt. So it's under $25 for you to get a whole t-shirt if you staked out 10 to 15 years. That's not much risk at this point. So again, the liquidity pools are set up. They're thin. Not very many stakers can come in. You can get your ladders set up for cheap right now. And again, this is pretty much right now for true believers. Like if you don't believe in hex, of course you're not buying and staking. There's a lot of people that think staking's done. But we're gonna find out, depending on what the market does this year, if that's reality or not. Because I'm gonna exit my screen. But we're gonna find out a lot of things this year, depending on what the market does. And like again, like the marketing campaigns ongoing, our community is growing. There's a lot to look forward to, depending on your outlook on things. We have one of the biggest communities in crypto. So I mean, just the other day, I seen like 2 or 3 different crypto people that have bigger accounts start to talk about PulseChain. And that's gonna, can you just imagine if price turns around and people continue to talk about PulseChain, like it's gonna get amplified very, 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 very high. So again, realistically, without any price movement at all, but we know that's not how it works, but without any price movement, only 8,000 new people could come in and get t-shirts. That's not very much. So you have to understand that getting your positions now, if you believe in hex, is critical. Like there's not a better opportunity to get your t-shares, get them locked up, and continue on with business. That also doesn't even, like, bigger players could come in and accumulate large positions. Existing players could come in and protect their positions by accumulating more hex, you know? So like the God whale still exists. People forget about him. There's only enough liquid hex for a few thousand entrants to come in and get supply before the share rate and bigger players could come in and price everyone out completely. And I don't think enough people realize that, because we've been down for so long that people are exhausted. Like I get it, you're exhausted, but if you're here and you still believe in hex, there's never been a better time to buy hex, make a ladder, and continue to stake. For those of you that stayed to the end of the video, I want to let you guys know that people that aren't aware, or if you're already aware, but I did launch a Patreon, and in that Patreon, that's a way for you to support me directly if you like the content I'm putting out and to be more involved with the content I'm putting out. Also, I made the tiers small enough for people to support easy. The smallest tier is like $1 and the highest tier is $20. And I'm going to put the link in the description for the Patreon. But this is probably where I'm going to end the video, you guys. And I might have a few live streams coming up this week yet. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you think it still makes sense to stake hex in 2026. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one.